The Baltimore Ravens will have a new defensive coordinator in 2024 as Mike Macdonald has accepted the head coaching position with the Seattle Seahawks. Welcome into this edition of Ravens Rundown by Chat Sports. Tyler Jones here. Thanks for joining us as we react to the news of Macdonald leaving Baltimore to take the Seahawks head coaching job. What does it mean for the Ravens? Who could potentially replace him? And will Mike Macdonald be taking some players and staff with him to Seattle? We'll dissect it all coming up on this edition of Ravens Rundown. Before we do, happy trails to Mike Macdonald. Wish him nothing but the best. Certainly enjoyed his 2 seasons with the Baltimore Ravens. Did an incredible job with this defense. We wish him well. Like the video to wish Mike Macdonald luck in Seattle as their next head coach. He's not going to be a division rival. He's going to another conference on the whole opposite coast. We wish him nothing but the best as he takes on this next chapter. Like the video for Mike Macdonald to have good luck in his next stop. Adam Schefter of ESPN breaking the news earlier today. A youth movement in Seattle. Seahawks are expected to hire Ravens defensive coordinator Mike Macdonald as their new head coach. League sources tell ESPN. They're still finalizing the deal, but Seattle has its man at 36. Macdonald now becomes the NFL's youngest head coach. Ended up signing a 6-year deal in Seattle, replacing Pete Carroll. And this process happened pretty quickly. He interviewed yesterday for the first time with the Seahawks with general manager John Schneider as he came to Baltimore. And then Macdonald flew out to Seattle today as Tom Pelissero of the NFL Network reports. The Seahawks are bringing in Ravens DC Mike Macdonald today for a second interview for their head coaching job per sources. Seattle met with Macdonald 36 on Tuesday in Baltimore. Now he's going through the expanded process they did with other candidates. So 2 interviews in a 24-hour stretch, and the Seahawks get their guy. Macdonald is a great fit for the Seattle Seahawks. I am very happy for Mike Macdonald, and quite frankly, I'm happy for the Seattle Seahawks. You get a young, up-and-coming coach who is well-respected around the National Football League and did nothing but good for the Baltimore Ravens. And somebody, too, that I look at that meant so much for this Baltimore Ravens team, right? You talk about the development of players like Patrick Queen and Justin Madubuike and Roquan Smith even taking that next step. In large part, it was due to Mike Macdonald of not only developing that talent, but putting them into a position to succeed. We've seen how much of an X's and O's guy Mike Macdonald is, that he's very good schematically. And even this past AFC Championship that they lost to the Kansas City Chiefs, it wasn't because of Mike Macdonald and this defense. You held Patrick Mahomes and company to 17 points and shut them out in the second half. The defense played good enough to win. The offense did not do its job. Mike Macdonald, very well deserved. I think he's going to be a fantastic head coach. And now the question becomes, did he make the right decision? Obviously, there's some things to sort out with that Seattle Seahawks team. You look at what the Ravens coming back off an AFC Championship game appearance. Ben Johnson decided to go back to Detroit, didn't take a head coaching job. Did Mike Macdonald make the right decision going to Seattle as opposed to staying in Baltimore or even going to Washington to be their head coach? Weigh in the comment section, our pinned comment today. Let us know what you think. Did Macdonald make the right call? Why for yes and for no? Let us know what you think. Kyle Hamilton had a fantastic season with the Baltimore Ravens this year, in large part due to the development from Mike Macdonald, right? Well, with that in mind, we have some awesome Kyle Hamilton gear on sale now. And with him just being in his second year in the league, this is going to be stuff that's going to last you a very long time, whether it's the shirtsy or a jersey, either one. We have plenty of Kyle Hamilton gear for you on sale, available now at chatsports.com/Kyle Hamilton to get yours today. The link is in the comments and description of today's video. That's chatsports.com/Kyle Hamilton to get your Kyle Hamilton gear now while supplies last. Now, for the Ravens, this is going to be a big loss for this organization to lose a guy like Mike Macdonald. And he had come a long way. You remember when he first showed up a couple of games in last season when the Ravens blew that big lead against the Miami Dolphins and the defense looked like a mess. And Rex Ryan called him out on Get Up and said that he doesn't know what he's doing and all that. He figured out things quick and really came a long way in talent development with these players. I mean, think about Patrick Queen, for example. This guy flourished, and Patrick Queen was a borderline Pro Bowl type player before Mike Macdonald showed up. And this year he was a Pro Bowler for the first time in his career, second-team All-Pro. And with that, with the Ravens not having a ton of cap space and with the connections that Macdonald has, there's a decent chance that Macdonald takes some of these Ravens players with him, like Patrick Queen. You look at that Seattle Seahawks team. Bobby Wagner and Jordan Brooks, their two starting inside linebackers, are on expiring contracts. We could very well see the Ravens not want to pay Patrick Queen or Seattle put up more money and him join Mike Macdonald there in Seattle, if that is the case. Not to mention the Ravens have Trenton Simpson waiting in the wings off of his rookie season from Clemson. Justin Madubuike could be another player. The Seahawks have a need at the interior of their defensive line. Justin Madubuike coming off a season where he led this Ravens team in sacks with over 12 this past year. He was fantastic and doesn't really have a weakness. Does a really good job, not just as a pass rusher, but a run stopper as well. And then Jadeveon Clowney. Clowney had a great year with the Baltimore Ravens. There was a lot of doubts about Jadeveon Clowney and what he would do with this Baltimore Ravens team after coming off a disappointing season in Cleveland. And he's played in Seattle before. We really saw Jadeveon Clowney come to life again in this Ravens defense this year. Was second on this team in sacks. So, I could see very well, with there just not being enough money for everybody, it's just not realistic that these three guys could follow Mike and end up with him in Seattle when it's all said and done. Now, some of you are going to have some hurt feelings about Mike Macdonald leaving. But the truth of the matter, I can't be mad. Mike Macdonald left for what I thought was the best job opening of any of these head coaching openings this year. The Seahawks are a very good organization. You look at John Schneider, he's been GM for a long time. They do things the right way in Seattle. And Mike Macdonald, if we're going to be frank, the Ravens were not going to be able to keep him for long. If the Seahawks or Commanders didn't hire him this cycle, he was going to get a job next year. He deserves it. He's earned it. And Ravens players have said the same thing. You listened to Kyle Hamilton recently, talked about Mike Macdonald and said Macdonald deserves everything that's coming his way. If that is a head coaching job somewhere, then we're all super proud of him. I think everybody has their own journey, own time in this league, and he's a hot name in this league right now, deservingly so. He's done a great job. Patrick Queen had this to say about Mike Macdonald. I think Mike Macdonald's the best head coaching candidate out there right now. I don't think anybody does it like him. Nobody cares like him. Nobody will do what he does. He will not rest until he has everything right. In a moment, we'll look over some potential replacements for Mike Macdonald in Baltimore. But first, this is why you subscribe to Ravens Rundown by Chad Sports, as we got some fantastic stuff ahead over the next couple days. We're going to do a full list of replacements for Baltimore, break those down piece by piece. We'll also be bringing in our daily news and rumors. Anytime something happens with the Baltimore Ravens, we're going to bring you a video as quickly as we can here on the channel. Subscribe now for the latest happenings in your favorite team all off season long. Best part about it, it's free. Doesn't cost you a thing. Subscribe now here on Ravens Rundown. Real quick, 5 names that come to mind potentially for the Baltimore Ravens to replace Mike Macdonald. Jim Leonhard, who spent a year basically out of football as an analyst for the Illinois football program, has NFL experience, most notably was the interim head coach for the University of Wisconsin before Luke Fickell took over after Paul Chryst got fired. He's going to be a hot name. Leslie Frazier, former Minnesota Vikings head coach and former DC for the Buffalo Bills. Evero, who's done a great job with Carolina. Despite how bad the Panthers are, Evero's done a great job with that defense. His name is going to be popular around league circles for DC jobs. Ron Rivera, he is not done coaching. He will be a coordinator somewhere probably next season. Could end up seeing him not take the too far trek from Washington to Baltimore to be the next DC, and would be somebody that I think would do a great job. And then in-house, I think the leader's probably Anthony Weaver, who's one of the top assistants for the Ravens D-line coach. He's going to be a name to watch as well. If I were to guess who likely is the replacement, I would say that the Ravens likely go in-house with a guy like Weaver potentially, because Weaver is drawing some interest from other places as well. So you might have to give him that job just for him to stay in Baltimore as far as that goes. Who should be the Ravens' next defensive coordinator? Weigh in the comment section. Give me a name that you would like to see replace Mike Macdonald, and let us know who that is. Give me one name. If you enjoyed today's show, if you want to wish Mike Macdonald the best of luck in his next chapter, like today's video. We certainly appreciate it, and we'll see you next time here on Ravens Rundown.